Good morning and welcome. Welcome to Thursday Flow. And this week, it's the art and science of happiness, something that is truly close to my heart. So we spend so much of our lives trying to figure out how to be happy, as though happiness is something out there, something we have to chase, achieve, or arrive at. But really, what if happiness isn't a destination? What if it's actually the journey? What if it's not something waiting for you one day, but something that's available to you right now? In this series, I'm going to show you exactly how to begin accessing that, because it was only through a crisis point of mine that I came to realize that happiness wasn't happiness didn't come from having or not having things, people in my life. Happiness actually came from within. And it's from that crisis point that this is why happiness is, this whole topic is so important to me. So there's a powerful story from a sports psychologist working with a cricket player. Actually, I think it was a baseball player. And the psychologist said to the player, when you step out into the field, don't focus on the fielders. Focus on the gaps between them, not the obstacles, the openings. And that idea doesn't just apply to sport. What if, instead of focusing on everything that's going wrong in your life, you began training your mind to see what's possible, what's actually going right? You trained your mind to notice the opportunities, the beautiful moments. There are lots of beautiful moments happening throughout our day. We just, with this culture, the society we live in, we often just gloss straight over it. We need to be starting to look for small openings that are already there. Because here's something most people don't realize. Up to 30% of your performance is influenced by your mood. Now, how amazing is that? Up to 30% of your performance is influenced by your mood. How you feel shapes how you show up. And yet, so many people are struggling quietly. I mean, how many times for women, I guess, do you put on an article of clothing and the other time you wore it, you felt really, really good because you felt good within yourself. You put on this clothing and voila, you felt like $1 million. And then today, because you're not feeling quite so good, you put on that same article of clothing and you think, it doesn't have the same feel as it had the other day. I've noticed that. So studies show, back to this 30% of your performance, studies show over half of entrepreneurs, business owners, experience high daily stress. The majority face mental health challenges, and most don't talk about it or do anything about it. And look, that just doesn't apply to entrepreneurs. My gosh, I can see that applies to me here, living on the farm. But when people intentionally focus on their well-being, when they apply the principles of positive psychology, everything begins to shift. They build stronger relationships, they reach their goals faster, and they lead more effectively. In fact, people who feel positive are up to 31% more productive. So this isn't just about feeling good. This is about how you live, lead, and create your life. Leadership begins with responsibility, and that means taking responsibility for how you feel and how you show up each day. You have a choice each day in how you feel and how you show up. So my invitation to you today is simple. Begin getting to know yourself on a deeper level than ever before. Because when you do that, something powerful happens. You stop trying to live someone else's version of success, and you start designing a life that actually works for you. You start designing your days, your energy, your purpose. In other words, you're choosing how you're feeling throughout your days. And your future self will thank you for it. Now, there's something else I love about this work. When one person begins applying these tools, it just doesn't impact them. There's a ripple effect. It ripples outward, impacting, would you believe it, statistics show 135 other people in their life. So this isn't just personal, it's powerful. And that was very interesting because I'm thinking 135 other people in my life. I don't come across 135 people in my life. However, I do post on social media, so it's quite possible. So what is this positive psychology? At its core, it's the science of what helps people thrive. Not just survive, but truly, truly flourish. And one of the key frameworks we'll explore in this series is called PERMA. It includes P for positive emotion, E for engagement, R for relationships, M for meaning, A for accomplishment, and lastly, and health. Think of it like a foundation for a thriving life. And over the coming weeks, we're going to walk through each of these together. Now, here's something incredibly empowering. There's a concept called the happiness pie, and it shows us where our happiness actually comes from. Around 50%, around 50% is influenced by genetics. Only 10% is based on circumstances, but a full 40% is within our own control. Wow, a whole 40% we have control of. That means even if your circumstances aren't ideal, you still have real power to shift how you feel. And sometimes that shift can happen in a moment. When I first started this practice, it took ages to have that shift. Now I can flip it just like that. And this is why I believe this work is so, so important, especially for younger generations. Because if we can learn these tools early, we can change lives. We have more control. We have better control of our life. And for me, this is deeply personal. What I've come to understand through my own challenges is this. Very important, actually, that positive psychology isn't just for the good days. Yes, it helps you perform, to grow, and to thrive, but it's even more powerful on those horrible, hard days. When life doesn't go to plan, when things feel heavy, overwhelming, when your world shifts. And that's when these tools matter most. And the beauty of it, they're simple, they're practical. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to begin. During some of the hardest seasons of my life, I asked myself, what would I teach someone going through this? And the answer was always the same. Go inward. Do the inner work. Focus on your inner world first, because that's where the real change begins. So I leaned in, I listened, I learned, I practiced gratitude, even when it felt hard. For example, at the moment, there's a nasty drought happening, and each day I wake up and don't see any rain clouds, and the forecast is no rain for several months. I wake up and say, what a beautiful day, a day closer to rain. That is so much more powerful than getting up and saying, oh my gosh, another drought day. So I trained myself to look for the good, even in the middle of the storm, and in this case, in the middle of the drought. Because here's the truth, your circumstances won't always be ideal. But you can change. You have the choice in how you respond to them. And that changes everything. Now, one important thing to understand, positive psychology is not, definitely not, about being positive all the time. Please let me say that again. Positive psychology is not about being positive all the time. It's not about ignoring your struggles or pretending that everything is okay when it's not. It's about embracing the full range of human emotions and understanding that even the challenges can shape you. Even the challenges can provide a learning opportunity for you. You grow, you strengthen. In fact, it's often through the hardest moments that we become who we're meant to be. Stronger, wiser, more resilient. And I know that for a fact. I can see that has happened in my life. Over the coming weeks, I'm going to share some of the most powerful tools I've learned. Tools you can start using immediately. You'll begin to feel better more often, build emotional and mental resilience, increase your energy and productivity, and create meaningful, lasting change in your life. This is about becoming someone who can thrive no matter what life brings. So I'm so glad you're here for this journey. This, I think for me, is one of the most powerful journeys or powerful lessons. And I'll see you in the next session. With heart, Margarita.